I simply wish to live an ordinary life, much like most others. This includes having a comfortable appearance, a steady job, marrying at a suitable age, and then raising a family. It's not that I aspire to anything exceptional. My only hope is for a very average life. Yet I find it's far more challenging than I once imagined. Sometimes people might say it's easy, asking, what's so difficult about just living a normal life? But when you actually try, you realize that being ordinary can be the hardest thing of all. Challenges can arise with appearance, finding a job, getting married, and even raising children.
Perhaps you are going to bed tonight feeling like you haven't quite measured up. Do you find yourself wondering why it feels so hard when it seems like everyone else manages so easily? Have you felt burdened by these kinds of thoughts?
It can sometimes feel like such a challenge to simply be ordinary, can't it? And if your path isn't always ordinary, please know it's not your fault. Today, I'd like to explore this topic with you. People around me often share their thoughts quite readily. They might comment my appearance seems average, and at my age, they suggest finding a job or settling down might be expected. They often imply that living an ordinary life should be easy and wonder why I find it hard. However, the reality we often face can feel quite different. We might find ourselves feeling stressed daily, just trying to achieve what's considered an average appearance. And to secure an ordinary job, it can feel like navigating through competition with hundreds, even thousands of applicants. It's common to apply for dozens of jobs and not hear back from most, or any at all. It feels like securing even a small home for myself is challenging in today's world, not to mention marriage. More than half of my monthly income goes towards rent, and saving money feels like an impossible dream. In this kind of situation, deciding to marry and have children can often feel less like an act of courage and more like a significant risk. It feels like being ordinary has unexpectedly become quite a luxury. While there's no need to earn a lot or achieve grand success, even that simple desire to live a regular life can feel challenging to achieve these days. The idea of being raised in a typical family, it's a truly beautiful sentiment, isn't it? But how many homes truly fit that description? Perhaps fewer than we might imagine. Even homes that look fine from the outside often reveal a different reality once you step inside. You might find families facing financial struggles or parents having difficulties in their relationship, and sometimes unspoken emotional wounds. These kinds of experiences are more prevalent than we might realize. Divorce has become quite common now. Sometimes family relationships can feel more distant than others. Families may prefer not to gather during holiday seasons, or siblings who don't keep in touch. It feels like this is our current reality. The harmonious and ordinary family we often long for, it often feels like something from a drama. In reality, such families might be quite uncommon. However, we sometimes assume it's normal. Then we try to meet those expectations. Why do we sometimes strive so hard to be what we consider normal? Perhaps it's due to a subtle worry about not fitting in with everyone else. It can feel like we're the only ones falling behind everyone else. On social media, it often feels like everyone is living a fulfilling life, perhaps even a bit more. They seem to have good jobs, beautiful homes, and happy families. Sometimes just seeing those pictures makes me feel a bit behind. It can sometimes feel like you're the only one without a job, or the only one who can't seem to find a partner. And then there's that sense that only your family faces difficulties. This feeling, a kind of relative deprivation, can weigh heavily on us. It often feels like others are succeeding while things just aren't working out for you. But the reality behind the statistics is actually quite different. Everyone else experiences moments of uncertainty and feels a sense of lacking, just like you do. They simply might not show it on the outside. Living an ordinary life can actually be quite challenging. If finding a job is delayed even once, it can feel difficult to build your career. And if you miss the right time for marriage, it might seem even harder to settle down. If you don't get the chance to buy a home, you might find yourself renting for a long time. When things go a little off track, it can feel much more challenging to get back. Being ordinary doesn't feel like something you achieve once and then it's done. It often feels like a continuous process of adjusting and adapting, like working and preparing for marriage, then after marriage, securing a home, or after having children, raising them while also managing to earn money. When we try to manage all these things at what feels like the right time, that's what can feel like an ordinary life. So just because your life might not feel ordinary doesn't mean you're lacking anything at all. The truth is, living an ordinary life has always been quite a challenging journey in itself, so there's absolutely no reason to blame yourself for not fitting into that mold. Perhaps finding a job is taking longer than expected, or perhaps you're navigating life alone right now, or your family situation feels challenging. However, these experiences are not unusual. They are simply a part of your current journey. Please don't feel pressured to conform to the average expectations that society might present. Ideas like finding a job at 25 or marrying and starting a family by 30. It's important to remember that these aren't the only right paths. Sometimes they're simply standards that someone else established. It's perfectly fine not to be ordinary. You can live life at your own pace, in your own unique way. It's okay to take your time or to choose a path different from others. What might be the essence of that ordinary life we yearn for? Perhaps it's less about being like everyone else and more about finding comfort in simply being ourselves. When we feel good about our lives, measured by our own hearts, not by others, that's what truly feels like an ordinary life. It's time to stop blaming yourself based on how others perceive you. What truly matters isn't how you appear to others, but rather your own comfort and peace. What if your appearance isn't what's considered ordinary? What if you're not tall or have a larger build, or your skin isn't always clear? Those things don't define your true worth. It's perfectly fine if your job isn't what's considered ordinary. It's okay if you're not at a large corporation, or if it's not a permanent position. Even a modest annual salary is perfectly all right. There's no need to live up to the standards others have set. Perhaps marriage isn't in the cards, or having children isn't possible for you. There's truly nothing wrong with that. Those aren't the only answers to a fulfilling life. If one path isn't for you, there's always another to explore. Living differently doesn't mean living incorrectly. Life has its own unique pace and path for each individual. It's perfectly fine if your journey unfolds at its own speed or follows a unique path. This is truly your unique life. Being different doesn't make you wrong. It just means your perspective is unique, and that uniqueness is never a mistake. It's perfectly fine not to be ordinary. You can live your life at your own pace, in your own unique way. A life where you feel okay by your own standards, not by what others expect. That's truly your own perfectly ordinary life.